What do you think the difference is in meat in Australia versus here? I've noticed a difference myself. I've been there before, and I've just heard many people talk about that as well. And what are some of the major differences you think?
The biggest difference on the briskets that I was looking at the time was the size. So they traditionally slaughtered younger in Australia, and just the genetics are bigger in the States. The animals are bigger here. So, but the biggest difference was the butchery, which is interesting for what's happening this weekend, because different countries cut animals up in different ways because they want different cuts out of it.
Even here in the United States, it's like, I think it's like more available now. But years ago, when I tried to get a tri-tip, I couldn't find one out here in California. Like, nobody knew what I was talking about.
Which is so weird, because this is the most popular state for tri-tip.
Right.
In this, the Santa Maria kind of Bay Area.
Right.
Where it's from.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
But it's supply and demand of popularity. And now I think consumers are more aware than ever before of different cuts and what to ask for. But the other biggest difference, I think, between US and Australia is Australia has a lot of grass-fed product, which is just because we have a lot of quality grass too. So it's the same as, knowing good dairy comes from Vermont. California, of course, has a lot of dairy too, but being in
cheese
drought,
from Wisconsin and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And it's like anything, the better the environment for it, the better quality product you'll get, which is why, there's a lot of grain-fed beef here, which is great because of the areas it comes out of, and just got to pick and choose it.
What are some maybe sleeper steaks that people don't know about?
I love this. All right. So the first thing is, you can't just buy a steak and hope that it's going to eat like a fillet, all right? So if you like your meat to eat like marshmallows, just don't stop listening now, because you should never stop listening, but just ignore this part because it's useless to you. I love skirt steaks, but there's two skirt steaks, and one of them is really tender and one of them is really not. So if you can get your hands on an outside skirt, there's a muscle called the teres major. So I don't know if you're like this too, but one of the things that I get really creepy about is, I know where all these same muscles are on us too. Do you
You're
ever
like,
do that?
I'm eating a rotator cuff.
Right, exactly.
I'll pass.
Exactly.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm just worried about I'm worried about him. Shit.
He's all right. So teres major's off of the scapula. That's one of the most tender ones. So is the flat iron, which comes off the top blade roast. They're the second most tender after the tenderloin, but really full of flavor because they're out of the chuck, which is up in the shoulder. Flap or bavette steak is a great one, especially for fajitas.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's another favorite of mine.
Have you had an opportunity to try Piedmontese steaks?
I have. They're
Yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah, and the bavette is amazing from there. It kind of, you eat it a little bit like a fillet, like it's really tender, even though it's super lean.
Do you know about that breed? Like what the deal with it is?
Yeah, I know a little bit about it, but maybe you can explain more. 'Cause I don't know as much as you.
Yeah, educate us, please.
So it's a genetic mutation of the myostatin gene, and it's basically double muscled. So that it has double as many muscle fibers, but that means it has the same amount of connective tissue. So overall, you're getting a bigger steak that appears to be leaner, less tough, and it is leaner,
Right.
because you get more muscle fiber but less connective tissue. So they're a really cool kind of animal
jacked
for that.
fucking jacked
Yeah,
cows.
they are.
They can like
stacked.
hurt themselves. Is what when I went out to Piedmontese, they were explaining that to me. They're like they have so much muscle on them, and they can move so powerfully that they can actually hurt themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
It's wild. It's wild. And they look like, they're shredded for competition.
Yeah, bodybuilders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any more steaks, like some hidden steaks?
I think Eye of Round is actually a really good one. It's very low in fat. It is a tougher steak though.
Yeah, I
And
would
it's
use it
inexpensive.
for jerky more than anything, because it's one of those ones where just because it has the name steak doesn't mean that you're going to get a great steak-y experience out of it. That's also the cut that you'll most likely. Have you ever seen that rainbow on the surface of meat? You know how you look
Yes.
that it's a light refraction deal because the muscle fibers are so tightly knit on that particular cut as well. So especially on roast beef and stuff like that.
So the meat's not bad. It's just
It's called birefringence. It's just a light refraction deal. Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know. I like all that nerdy shit, Those are my big ones. Honestly, ribeye is probably my favorite that doesn't need any help, but sirloin steaks are up there for me. I love them. Top sirloins like culotte, rump cap. I think that they've got a great chew, great flavor. Love them. And they're good price.
Ribeye cap is amazing.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. Have you ever bought a whole ribeye roll and just taken the cap
Oh,
off?
yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, that's
I've
really
never
good.
done that.
It's like a loaf,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a big loaf.
And then you can give other people the rest of the ribeyes and they don't really know that you've taken
It's
the cap
called-
off and keep it for yourself.
It's called something different though, right?
The cap?
Like the roast, right? It's called
It's a
something.
rib roast.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Sorry,
right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it has a
Something
whole
like-
bunch of different. I mean, prime ribs, the same thing. You know,
Right, like a prime rib roast is basically a bunch of ribeye. Like once you chop it up, it's a bunch of ribeyes, right?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. There's actually a meat guide. So in the industry, we speak in numbers. So there's 107s, 103s, like how much is left on, how much is trimmed down,
Wow.
and you get all the way down to individual steaks. So that's the other really confusing thing, the barrier to entry to meat. Different names for the same fucking thing.
Oh, what about ribs? We need to talk about ribs.
All right, let's talk
Ribs
about
are amazing. What kind of ribs? Like what are good tender ribs?
Are you talking about beef ribs or pork ribs or any
Yeah,
ribs?
beef.
So
Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we partnered with an amazing brand, Bubs Naturals. We actually have some of the products on the table. Their MCT oil powder, their collagen protein, and this
Yeah.
their apple cider vinegar gummies. Okay. One thing I want to let you guys know real quick is that the Bubs products, number one, they mix super well. So I've had different MCT oils and I've talked to people who've used MCT oil and mentioned to the copy, and it doesn't mix well. Well, their MCT oil is amazing on coffee in the morning just on its own, but their collagen protein, and collagen is great for joint health, hair, skin, nails, all that stuff, that also mixes just so well into coffee and everything. That's one of the crazy things. But secondly, these freaking apple cider vinegar gummies, I don't ever supplement apple cider vinegar, but they put them in gummies, which is great. 2 per serving. We have literally eaten one of these full things. Andrew and I have split this. And Mark has to be so careful. Like, we give him 2 and we take it away because it tastes so good, but it's actually really good for you. So Andrew, tell them how to get it.
Yes, guys, seriously, have just the recommended dosage. Just have 2 of those gummies. Don't have 2 full bottles the way we do. Head over to bubsnaturals.com and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save 20% off your entire order. And what's really cool about Bubs Naturals is they actually donate 10% of all their profits to various charities, starting with the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. Again, bubsnaturals.com, promo code PowerProject to save 20% off. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
I mean, chuck and plate ribs, so that just depends where they come from on the animal, but it's the same muscle. It's still serratus ventralis. Do you ever have Denver steaks?
No.
I don't believe so.
That's the same muscle too, just up in the chuck as well. The only ribs that I'm not a huge fan of are probably back ribs because you're getting a lot of the intercostals there. So you get like the connective muscle, but you don't get a lot of like bang for buck muscle. But it's also why they're cheaper. So if your favorite thing is just gnawing on bones, I would go with the back rib.
That's unfortunate.
When people are preparing steaks, whatever they're doing, what are some things that they need to try to do to make sure that they always end up with a good steak? Like, for example, maybe not making it well done, but letting it sit and stuff like that. When I was younger, I never had patience. So once my steak was done, I'd just go into it and be like, why isn't this the right way? Then someone told me about letting it sit, and I was like, wow.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, go ahead and comment down below and let us know what you liked about it. All right. Share this with a friend. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And also, we are on Reddit and Discord. All that's down below. All our sponsors and everyone that supports us down below there too. So you can get whatever you like from us. All right. Peace.